can forget how Avatar introduced us to some of the best superpowers ever? And let's not forget how much fun it was to see Zuko, Katara, Korra, and Aang use their bending abilities with all that expertise. But this time around, we'd like to give a special shout out to the often forgotten non-benders in the show. Without further ado, let's look at some of our favorites in the Avatar franchise. First up at number 11, Lo and Lee. Sure, we don't see these two kinda creepy sisters often enough, but that doesn't mean that they aren't super important to the Fire Nation. They played the role of confidant, advisor, and teacher. Not to mention, they had a huge hand in bringing up both Azula and Zuko after the death of their mother. We doubt Fire Lord Ozai was a very present father. These non-bending ladies were clearly not in their physical prime, but they had something far more crucial: political influence. Lo and Lee were the bad guys, but that didn't make them any less intriguing. It would be a delight to learn just how deep their hold was on the Fire Lords. Moving on, in 10th place, Ursa. If you recall, Ozai asked his father for Iroh's birthright to be passed to him after his brother's only son was killed in battle. So Azulon, who we're beginning to think was as scary as his younger son, demanded that Ozai kill his own firstborn to earn what he so desperately desired. That's when Ursa stepped in. She was married to the guy, so she knew that her power-hungry husband would actually do what was asked. And she did what she had to do to save Zuko. She poisoned Azulon and risked everything to protect her child. Not only would we have lost Zuko, which is unimaginable, but Aang would also have lost his friend and teacher. If anything, it was Ursa's courage that indirectly helped the young airbenders save the world from Ozai and bring an end to the 100-Year War. Following up in 9th place, Hakoda. Sokka's father, Hakoda of the Southern Water Tribe, went off to fight the Fire Nation well before the end of the war. The skilled captain warrior left behind his wife and children and only appeared for a short time in the series. But that didn't stop us from absolutely adoring him. Like, what wasn't there to like? Hakoda had been fighting for years, right until he was reunited with Sokka and Katara. That's a long time for anyone to be on the road, or more accurately, the ship, in an attempt to bring an end to all the destruction. Even when his children and the Avatar arrive, he doesn't just leave, but follows the younger generation into battle once again. Talk about dedication. Our favorite thing about him, though, was his ability to crack jokes that only he laughed at, and the fact that Sokka inherited this trait made us ever so grateful. Coming up at number 8, Asami. The Legend of Korra didn't just introduce us to our favorite chaotic titular character, but also Asami Sato. The daughter of Future Industries CEO wasn't just beautiful, but also smart, capable, and dedicated, and so much more. Not to mention, she was a great friend when she immediately told Korra that she had kissed Mako. Thankfully, neither of them would let a guy come between their friendship. Asami worked alongside Korra to help better the world while leading Future Industries after her father's imprisonment. Her leadership abilities, combined with her combat skills, made Asami a great teammate. It didn't matter to Korra that she had no bending skills. Asami had already proved she was irreplaceable. Moving on in 7th place, June. One of our favorite professional bounty hunters ever, June and her Shirsu, Nyla, appeared in the show on multiple occasions. This awesome woman had made a name for herself in this fictional world by successfully tracking all her targets and bringing them back to the payer. When Nyla did most of the work by tracking and poisoning its victims, June shouldn't be underestimated. First off, she had the power to fling men thrice her size as easily as we could a grape. Her formidable strength, her speed, and her combat skills made her quite troublesome for Aang and his friends. Not only did the show prove that she was one of the strongest non-benders around, she instantly became a fan-favorite character amongst fans. Not to mention, in 6th place, the Kyoshi Warriors. We've come to one of our favorite entries on the list, the Kyoshi Warriors. What makes them so great, you ask? Well, first things first. The Kyoshi Warriors were hand-trained by none other than Avatar Kyoshi herself. This group consisted of skilled fighters who regularly showed up to not only help out their island, but folks in other parts of the world as well. Instead of defeating their opponents with brute force, their every move was precisely calculated. They find openings and exploit others' weaknesses. Not to mention, they were trained in using weapons as well, such as their golden fans, shields, and katana blades. These ladies were deadly in a fight, and proved so regularly. Next up in 5th place, Mai. We remember the day we first set our eyes on Mai. Introduced as a member of Azula's trio, she was known for her ability to accurately throw weapons like knives, darts, and shuriken. But what stood out was her expressionless face and all-over emo look that made her an instant favorite. Of course, Zuko fell for her. While people may want to overlook her, she was a terrifying fighter and a major threat to the gang, right until she was imprisoned by Azula. let's not forget she was regularly fighting benders, whether she was battling Katara or the prison guards at the Fire Nation. Mai didn't care. Her undeniable skills, lightning-fast reflexes, and agility allowed her to hold her own and even help Zuko in his escape without ever needing anyone's help. Coming up at number 4, Master Piandao. Master Piandao was first introduced to us when Sokka decided to convince the Master to teach him how to sword fight. During the thrilling episode, we learned that not only he was a great fighter, but an incredible painter too, a multi-talented man. And how do we forget that he had learned from members of the Water Tribe? As a member of the Fire Nation, he understood that other people had things to teach him, so he was inspired to include the tribe's movements in his fighting style, which made him so unique. He trained Sokka, all because Piandao proved to be a talented teacher too. His undeniable skills made him an undefeatable warrior, which is why he never lost a battle throughout his life and why he's also on this list. Up next in third place, Suki. The Kyoshi warriors were led by the wonderful Suki. While she was introduced as a supporting character, she made herself very important to the gang. And to top it all off, Sokka and she made the cutest couple ever. Let's see now. Suki proved that she was more than a fighter. She was compassionate and kind and didn't only think about herself and Kyoshi Island. Her desire to help others led her to the ferry terminal to help refugees safely find a way into Ba Sing Se. And what did she do when she met the gang? Just what you'd expect from her. She accompanied them on their way through the Serpent's Pass to make sure that they'd be safe. What more could you want from a warrior? Moving on to number 2, Ty Lee. Ty Lee made up the third member of Azula's team and the only one who wasn't as intense as the others. She was chosen by Azula to bring down the Avatar and his friends because of her high precision abilities that she used to block chi in her opponents. This ability allowed her to bring down many benders throughout the series. Her cheery demeanor didn't make Ty Lee look like much of a threat and was commonly considered a weakness, even by Azula. But there was so much more to her. She had decided to take everything life threw at her in her stride, and even despite the issues at her home, made a name for herself in a traveling circus. Our favorite moment is when she defends Mai from Azula's rage after she helped Zuko escape. She stood up to someone as crazy as their group's leader and immediately took her down. That's just how capable she was. Last but not least, at number 1, Sokka. Our favorite jokester, Sokka, was the only non-bending member of the gang. Often frustrated by his inability to help out his bender sisters and friends, he strived to learn more and better himself for the sake of his gang. Sokka became one of the most talented swordsmen, plus he proved himself to be a talented strategist who could even find a solution when his friends were in a tight spot. His plan to infiltrate the boiling rock and then escape from it was close to perfect. Just think about it. The guy was using his boomerang and mathematics to hit targets that were also out of his view. Apart from coming up with the name for the group, Sokka was crucial to them as their unofficial leader, who we think deserved that title. And that's a wrap for this video. Who's your favorite non-bender character from the Avatar franchise? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.